Music appreciation 101.
What's good, everybody? It's Scoobert Doobert here for Love Music More, and I am joined with the great Bubby Lewis. So excited to chat with you. Incredible musician, bass player, collaborator, writer, producer, band member. We've got all sorts of stuff to talk about. So welcome, Bubby. I'm so excited to have you on.
Appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate you having me. It's an honor and privilege to be here on your show, man. Appreciate it.
It's so great to connect because I've been such a fan of your bass playing, for so long, and we just kind of got into each other's orbit when I took a bass lesson from you, and then we discovered the shared love of Japan, where you currently are, and so I'm just excited to talk about your whole journey, how you ended up where you're at, how you ended up loving the things that you love. And to do that, let's go all the way back. How'd you get started with music? What drew you to bass? Like I'm curious about how it all began for you.
Man, for me, it all started with church.
Love it.
Grew up in church. My brother, my oldest brother, played organ, piano, guitar, bass. Really, mostly bass and organ. My sister played drums. Yeah, I mean, everything for me started at church. Just waking up every day and somebody was blasting music. Somebody, my sister or my older sister, somebody was always blasting some music. My brother Billy that passed away, he got me into Prince and like the OJs and different stuff like that. My brother Kubi got me into Chick Corea and
Yes.
The Isley brothers. It's just random stuff, man. But it all started for me at church for sure, 100%.
I love it. So how did that work? Because I know you're Flint, Michigan. How was kind of like integrating into the church and learning? Was it a process of like there's instruments and you're picking them up and you're kind of teaching young players as they're coming up, or how did that kind of work in terms of actually like getting on instruments?
I mean, honestly, man, when I was, let me see, like 7 or 8 or something like that, I just like I would see my brother playing bass, and then we had a lot of different musicians, great musicians come through our church in Michigan, period. Obviously Detroit is like massive for music, Pontiac and all that kind of stuff. And so my oldest brother, he had a PV, what was that mug called? Like a TL6 or something like that, a PV6 string from back in the day. And he gave it to me on my 8th, I can't even hardly remember, my 8th or 9th birthday. But long story short, I looked at it and I put it under my bed and never played it. He ended up taking it back and somebody else got it. And fast forward, I had this spark to play drums that came out of nowhere, but I'm garbage at drums because I can't do I can't do different things, like different rhythms, like with different limbs. I just can't master that. And my parents weren't like, they were kind of like, I don't know, because they remember what I did with the bass my brother gave me. And then that changed after listening to a Dave Wecko record. I heard Tom Kennedy do this bass solo, man, on the Synergy album. It was the Synergy title song too. And then I went to my parents like, all right, I want a bass. And they was like, look, man, like you, you know what I'm saying? Like you already kind of tried that and you literally put it under your bed. But my brother was like, maybe he'll do it this time. So y'all should get him one. And he got me one. And as far as like getting in at church, like where I come from, at the time, at least, there were no like music schools and stuff like that in Flint. Flint was literally just farmland and good restaurants, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So everybody just, and this is, I guess, a church thing, period. Everybody just learns by ear. Like you kind of just, if you say you want to play for the choir, you just got to listen to the music that the choir director gives, and you got to find the notes, and that's kind of just how it happened. I was fortunate that I was around some really incredible musicians that kind of you know, they pushed me. Like I
Yeah.
would hear them every Sunday, and I was like, dang, okay, if I want to be able to do this, I gotta bring it.
Yeah.
And just that was like my motivation, I guess. But it wasn't so much hard. It was just, church is really cool, man. Like they give you a chance, to just, because you never know like if there's young musicians or young kids that are on the drums, like they would always let the kids play, because you just never know,
Cool.
they may grow up to be Chris Coleman
Right.
or you know Vinny or somebody
Right.
like that. You just never know.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
yeah, I was fortunate, man. I was really fortunate that I had some supportive people. My parents were very supportive, and my homie Eddie Brown, a lot of different people in my life, and everybody was tossing me good music to listen to and stuff
Yes.
like that. So yeah, I just took it and ran with it, basically.
I love it. And I think that speaks to something really powerful about like swimming in it, being a part of it,
Mm,
listening to great music, being around great musicians, asking
yeah,
questions, getting pushed, all that kind of stuff. It's like
yeah,
you can learn so much from the music school, but it's like the network that you're in that you actually end up learning more from.
absolutely. The
Yeah.
the real life experience, man. It's night and day for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm curious too about how what you kind of brought to practicing and how that's evolved over time. Because I've seen some clips talking of you talking about fretboard mastery and understanding
Hmm.
like a B is a B is a B is a B, and you're like kind of going through
Hmm.
the neck and just being like dial that in so lights are off,
Yep,
charts are gone, you know what you're doing.
yep.
How did you kind of like end up there in that kind of place, or was that impulse from a really young age?
Um, I guess I just, being a nerd and watching a lot
Yes.
of kung fu movies and anime
Yes.
and stuff like that, I figured if it's really hard,
Hmm.
then this is what I need to work on.
Cool.
So, you know, yeah, practicing in the dark and
Uh-huh.
memorizing what notes sounded like, and like I tell people this all the time too. A lot of people think that perfect pitch is like a superpower. It's not a
Hmm.
superpower, it's just memory.
Mm.
It's just memory. You just remember what a note sounds like. So I think me and you talked about this before. Like, you know, I feel like if someone practiced enough, they'll at least get some sort of grip on memorizing what different notes sound like. So for me, I just kind of took that. I mean, I've had it since I was a kid, but you know, I didn't know what a note was
Yeah.
until I said, oh, okay, so this actual note is a C, or this actual note is an A flat, or whatever.
Hmm.
Obviously you figure that out once you start playing an instrument. But, for me, I just kind of kept recycling those same things, the basic fundamental things, I feel like. And it's something that I still do 22 years later,
Yes.
still like practicing in the dark or blindfold every now and then, or
Hmm.
just close my eyes. I still sit and watch a movie and solo to it
Yep.
from, like basic stuff, nothing. I'm not I guess like an extreme trainer type of person. I just like to do stuff that is challenging, but it's kind of fun at the same time.
Hmm. I like that, and I think that a lot of maybe people that don't play don't realize how much musicians shed while they're watching something.
Oh man. Oh man. That's all the time, for sure. All the
Yeah.
time.
There's like a part of that's part of the reason why there's so many music friends that have like they're like, yeah, I watched all Naruto, like every single episode, like no
Of
problem,
course.
because they're
Of
just
course.
doing their thing, you
I'm
know?
literally rewatching One Piece right now. What is
Yes,
this
One Piece, the
episode?
ultimate.
What is this? 59? Yeah. So I literally, if I had my bass, I could just sit here and just watch this and just practice and not even
Yep,
realize it.
yep. No,
Yeah.
it's a great way, and I love your way of practicing because I think you blend improvisation and
Mm-hmm.
exploration and practice all in really cool,
Mm-hmm.
intuitive ways. And I feel like so many people focus on like running scales, and while that's like
Yeah.
important, I think that
Yeah. Yeah.
the way that you like go through arpeggios and definitely check out Bubby's page so you can see some of that on Instagram and stuff. But I'd love to hear like I know that there have been some musicians that have really kind of helped and guided your inspiration for
Yep.
improv. But I'm also just curious about like your mentality when you're just like, I'm just gonna speak.
Man, to me, and this is something that I also learned from church, it's real church is about the moment. Obviously it's a spiritual thing, but for me, I like to just take that and bring it in every situation, really. So, you know, for me, when I improvise, the only idea I have is what sounds good to me, what feels good to me. You know what I'm saying? It's not, can I impress this person or can I
Yeah.
make all the musicians go crazy? I don't care about that. What can I play that speaks to me first? You know what I'm saying? And the way I was kind of, I guess, groomed into thinking as a musician is create something right for the moment, not pre-rehearsed. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with transcribing or anything like that. But for me, I fell in love with the method of just, if I hear it right now, let me try and execute it right now. You know what I'm saying? And is it always going to be 100% accurate? No, but who cares?
Yeah.
And like the way me and my buddy Eddie, the way we used to shed when we were, after church and in summertime, it'd be like 2 a.m. He would just play random chords and tell me solo. Like he didn't give me a chance to hear the chords, and it was just like, no, just listen and think of it as a conversation. Me and you could ask each other questions right now, and we'll just start answering. So he basically was like, why can't we do that musically? If you hear a chord, don't worry about what key it's in. Don't worry about what type of chord it is. Like, what do you hear?
Yeah. Right.
And that was probably some of the best practice that I've ever had. And it's still something that I do to this day. So like, if people just say, hey, Bubby, take a solo. I just try and make up something for that moment, note for note. I don't care if it's like 1,000,000 notes or 5 notes, whatever. Just do it, and I'm not concerned with if I mess up. I don't really believe in that. It's just about the moment to me. And with that, I don't stress about people's criticism. I don't, honestly, I just don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm just having fun. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I like that, and I think that there's a funny, I don't exactly know where it is in musical journey, but like there's a point at which you stop noticing people's mistakes because
man,
they don't treat them like mistakes anymore.
Exactly.
They're like a happy little accident, and you start calling it back. And maybe for like a younger musician, somebody that's like really in that mindset of like every note's got to be right. Like
everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah. Maybe speak to them, like say, 12-year-old or something. They're like locked in that mindset. Help them get out of it. What would you say? Like,
I
break
mean,
out.
What I think about? I think about my heroes.
Yeah.
If me and you went to a John Patitucci concert, and let's say he was taking a solo, and let's say, he's like slipping over a few notes or something like that. Neither one of us is going to care because we're watching John Patitucci play. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you have heroes, your heroes basically can do no wrong. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the way I look at it is, well, I mean, I guess you kind of got to be your own hero, but be humble. Like, just understand it's just music. It's just notes. And that's like if you had to stand up in front of the class and read a report and you stuttered over a few words. It's cool. Just slow down and finish the sentence. Like that's the way I look at it. And, the only people that will really sit up there and criticize everything you do, something is wrong with that person. But most people that just love music and really enjoy music, they can find something great about just about anything. You know what I'm saying? The more you understand about music and the more music that you're even exposed to, the more appreciation you have for so much of it, I started out only listening to gospel and funk and R&B, but I remember I used to hate country music and bluegrass and all this kind of stuff. And then one day what was it? Paint Me a Birmingham by, what was that guy? Tracy Lawrence. Paint Me a Birmingham. I forgot Tracy Lawrence, I think. But I heard that song, man, I started crying.
Mm.
And my father loved country and bluegrass music. So, but when I started listening to it, this appreciation came, and then you realize, like, man, this is still music. It's not Prince funk. It's not, Bootsy. This is just different music. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of it. So, you can't concern yourself about mistakes. The mistakes that's part of the growth. And the further you go, the more you kind of realize, there really isn't a mistake. It's just get to a place where you see it as just expression. You know, that I'm a firm believer in that, just expression, and some nights it's gonna feel good, some nights it won't feel good, but who cares? You just do,
Actually, I really liked it because, like, I was thinking about what you were saying about musical conversations and not knowing exactly where it's going to go. I mean, the same thing happens when you're like learning a language and you feel fluent, or for the people that get really good at languages really fast, they're just fearless. They just start talking, and it's like, whatever, I'm going to mess up. This isn't my first language. I'm just going to go.
Yeah,
and
you just try.
That fearlessness, that's like the same thing with music is, I make mistakes speaking English, but you don't really notice because, just start talking.
I'm ghetto. I'm from Flint. I'm a country boy from Flint, Michigan. I know I don't talk correct all the time. I be having to have my wife help me spell stuff all the time. Like, dude, but it is what it is, like you just
communication.
You just do the best you can. And if you just keep the mindset that you want to grow and, you want progress in whatever it is you're doing, to me, that's all that matters. You just want to be better. You want to be healthier, you want to be nicer, you want to be more kind to people. You want to get better at music, like throw that one in there too. You want to get better at your instrument, you want to be a better writer, you want to be a better producer, composer, whatever it might be. Like, but beating yourself up over how long it takes and the time you spent on doing it and it's not coming fast enough, like, man, don't waste your time. Just do it. Just do it and see what happens. Because rest assured, if you work at something, eventually you'll see what all that work turns into. But you have to continue. You know what I'm saying? You start a diet, and the first week you may not see any weight drop off. But if you keep going and you really discipline yourself, you're eating right, you're exercising or whatever, eventually you're going to see a lot of results. And then at that point, you're like in the zone. You know what I'm saying? Same for music.
Man, are you really doing all those push-ups?
Man, I've done, right before I called you, I did my 400th.
Oh my God.
And I have one more set of 100 and I'll be done for the day.
Yes.
I have to do these before I go to sleep.
Yes.
Every day. Every day.
Are you sore? Like, or did you just transcend that now? Are you like, like, you have the most like anime character push-up training plan. You guys got to see this on. It's awesome. It's like
I wouldn't say I'm sore. I'm just kind of tight.
Tight. Yeah.
But you know what, bro? Honestly, them dudes in the military and stuff, they be doing like That's 2,000 and 3,000 a day. So my little measly 500, it's like, ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good perspective.
Bro, they wake up and do like 500 straight. Like, whoa. I have to do 500 throughout the day. Like, this is puny compared to them dudes. So that's motivation for me.
I like that mentality.
Yeah, man.
So speaking of, progress over time yielding results, I want to hear about the tour that you're just on, touring with Snoop Dogg, and then some of the clips that I saw of the band, absolutely ridiculous. We'd just love to kind of like hear about how that all went, the traveling from Tokyo. Did you fly out to LA? I know you got some jet lag going on. I just want to hear about this tour, how it went, about the players, maybe some stories.
Man,
I just want to dig in.
this was a great. It was a good time, man. I mean, Snoop was that was my first introduction to being a professional musician way back in 2007. I had just turned 21 years old, fresh 21,
Fresh.
fresh out the oven, still hot. And I mean, it was like it's funny because the tour was called the High School Reunion Tour. So it did feel like that, like these were people that, you know, basically were looking after me because I was a kid and making sure I didn't get lost, when it was lobby call and stuff like
Yeah.
that, making sure I knew which way to walk so I wouldn't get lost or stranded in another country and stuff. It was cool, man. It was a cool experience. I did have to fly back to LA, and we were supposed to do 3 rehearsals. We ended up doing basically 2 rehearsal days.
Ooh. Where'd you
But it
rehearse?
was
Center staging or
no, we
no?
actually had to rehearse at the Honda Center in
Oh my
Ontario
gosh. Really?
because Snoop wanted to see like the stage setup. We weren't on
Yeah.
stage. We were either on the side of the stage or behind the stage because he had this crazy elaborate stage setup, and there was like a 6'4" Chevy that he drove out, and it was just a crazy
Yo.
stage setup, man. So he wanted to see that. He wanted
Yes.
to actually see what his stage looked like. And we found out on that second day that he came, he had never in his entire career seen what his shows looked like from the audience ever.
Mm.
So we had to run the whole show, and he just watched from out in the audience, like all the videos that play and stuff
Yes.
like that. And they said he was out there crying because he'd never
No.
witnessed his own show before.
Oh,
And
that's
that's,
so beautiful.
you think about it, as long as he's
Yeah.
been doing music, but he's just used to performing,
Yep. Yep.
And as far as the tour went, man, it was cool. The travel was typical. We had a tour bus. It was a massive crew between Snoop, Wiz, let me see, Snoop, Wiz, Too Short, Warren G, Burner, DJ Drama. So it was, and then you had all the stagehands and stuff like that, the riggers and stuff. So it was probably like 11 or 12 tour buses.
Whoa. That's
And
massive. And
oh man,
how many
it was
semis too?
massive.
You had semis
Oh
with it.
yeah, it was. Let me see how many semis. I want to say. I want to say maybe 12 to 14 semi. It was something crazy, man. It was
That's a
like
caravan.
it was a massive joint, man. And I was on the tour bus I was on was the baby long bus because nobody on that bus smokes. so the nicknames, like, it's some hood junk. So everybody's bus had a name and stuff like that. So the tour manager,
That's
Queen
funny.
B, she put me on the baby long bus. And it was cool, man. We just did the shows, and I got on my tour bus, and I watched me a little anime or a movie. I was watching Star Wars a lot, and
Yes.
my typical nerd stuff, Pokemon Scarlet,
Nice.
Yeah. But it was a good run, man. It was good to see everybody. Mars, uh my guy Mars was playing keys, and Tayron Lockett was playing drums. It's just 3-piece. DJ Green Lantern was the DJ for Snoop. And that was it. That's all we needed. We did all the classic hits, from the Gin and Juice to the Drop It Like It's Hot stuff. It was cool. It was a cool run, man. I had a good time. It was nice to perform at a lot of those amphitheaters that I remember playing it, a lot of them, the very first times I was playing with Snoop back in the day, and it was good to revisit them. Some of those venues, you sign your name on the wall. So I was looking for my name in some of them. Couldn't find that junk to save my life, but I know it's in there somewhere. Yeah, man, that junk was it was tight, man. It was a cool run.
That's really cool. How do you approach, say something like a Gin and Juice, adapting that on bass? like where you want to, you want to keep the same original feel, like in general feeling, because it's such a classic song, but also you're integrating with live drums.
That's a
And
great question. That song, man, to be honest, from the very first moment I performed with Snoop to now, it's evolved so much.
Cool. I love to hear that.
And I mean, it went from me kind of just literally just playing the bass line exactly like the record to now. I mean, we like alternate notes and different kind of, like, there's certain sections where we pretend we're kind of swinging a little bit.
Cool. Yeah.
Really weird how the song has evolved throughout the years, man. But I guess the most important thing is just, if you know what Dog is saying, if you know the lyrics and stuff like that, you get to have a lot of fun accenting some of those lyrics, and it's a fun groove. I mean, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 notes.
Yeah.
It's 4 notes. F, A, F sharp, B, F, like it's simple, but it's funky at the same time. So it's one of them things you just kind of make it feel good,
Yeah.
It's interesting how that junk has evolved, though, man.
That's cool.
For sure.
That's cool. I like that answer a lot. Yeah, I really like that. I think it's funny too, is as a guitarist, I recognize the power of the bass player, because if you choose a different note, now all of a sudden I'm playing like a a slash chord. Now it's just suddenly I'm playing the same chords, but now it's jazz. Like the bass player can take you into incredible places if he wants to.
It can definitely transform the situation. I agree for sure.
Yeah. It's like moving a house.
We did a lot of that. Yeah,
it's ocean view now. Now we're up on the mountains.
Yep. We did a whole lot of that, man. Every song. And the cool thing is Superfly, the music director, Superfly, he's cool with it, and Dog is cool with it. So that makes it fun. It's not a situation, where we have to just be 100% to the record. And a lot of people confuse that. They, hip hop and R&B, it's play the record. It's not always like that. Every situation I've ever been in with every rapper, every R&B singer, every artist I've ever worked with, they don't want it to sound exactly like the record. That's the reason why they have musicians that can play licks and all this. Like, they want this live feel. They want it to be different every night. So that makes it even more fun when you can embellish and make it more of a story performance than just getting up there playing the same notes and getting a check. That's kind of whack to me. I like it that the artists are like, man, let's make this joint an experience for the night, and tomorrow's gonna be another experience, and so on and so forth. Like that, to me, that's what George Clinton and them did, and Prince and all the greats, Stevie Wonder. That's what the greats did. It was an experience. You go to the show in Detroit, and it's one way. You go to the show in Chicago, it's only 4 hours, but it's gonna be a different show.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're getting something different. That's sweet to me.
I agree. And I like that word story too. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yep. Yeah. It's a story, man. Yep.
Yes. So why'd you move to Tokyo? What was this a lifelong dream?
Brother, you want to know the truth, man?
I want to know the truth.
Scoob, you want to know the truth?
I want to know the truth, Bubby.
All right, man. When I was 4 or 5 years old and I seen Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
And I heard Master Splinter talking about Japan and Humato Yoshi and Huoko Saki and ninjas and the Foot Clan, and that junk inspired me all the way back then. And I literally, since then, had been telling my parents, everybody that has ever came in contact with me since I was a kid, a wee lad, a young Padawan, that I wanted to go to Japan one day. And the older I got, I just hoped and hoped and hoped. But I mean, hey, I'm a country boy from Flint. There's no way I would go to Japan or even get an opportunity. I'm here.
Yeah.
I mean, it just,
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got a call to do a tour with a J-pop artist. That was in 2012. All the tours that I was supposed to do here with Snoop or whoever got canceled for various reasons, I'm sure. Everyone would know why Snoop couldn't come to Japan at those times, or why he backed out of it, because you know, he's got to have what he needs to have. I'll just leave that there. But anyway, it was a blessing, man. 2012, I got my first opportunity, and I knew I was going to love this place. Being an anime fan, I'd always been into the culture. I'd always been into karate and aikido and judo and all this kind of different stuff. And came here, and it was more than what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And fast forward, my wife fell in love with it, and one day we was like, we should try and move, and that was it. So I'm here now. For now.
Yeah. What surprised you? Was it the food? Was it the parks? Or like what was something that, like, outside of your preconceptions of Japan, when you actually got there, you were like blown away by?
Well, you know this. You know it's clean. You know, you know the food quality is amazing and all that. Because the water is great. Everything like that. Yeah, the water is great too. Yeah. I guess what I fell in love with a lot is people here, for the most part, just kind of mind their business.
Yeah.
You know, like Japanese culture, there could be a very shy people, and they're just kind of to themselves in a lot of ways, you know. So, you know, it's just, I guess it was just that's like, wow, man, like I can just, you know, just do my thing. Like ain't nobody all up trying to see him out, you know, what is he doing here? And, you know, like I don't belong and stuff like, no, they're just like, hey, or not, you know, like I don't even see you, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I love that. And on top of that, I mean, having a wife and a daughter, knowing that if they wanted to walk around after midnight, they'd be okay. You know? Right. Granted, I still wouldn't let them do that, but still, it's nice to know that you don't really hear often about crazy stuff happening like you would back in the crib. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I guess that was the thing that was really dope. I think it's dope to see random sumo wrestlers walking up and down the street. That's cool.
That's cool.
You know,
you got to go to sumo for the first time last season, right?
Yes. And it was for this month. It was for this month, bro. And that junk, I mean, I literally went in the morning and I sat in the chair and I cried because you know, that's my favorite sport.
in Tokyo, you went to what's it called?
Rio Goku. Rio Goku. Yeah. You've been there before.
I've been
right?
there. I've been there once too. Yeah, it was awesome.
That junk, man.
No, not this one.
Isn't it funny? Maybe I don't know if this is too inappropriate, but I thought it was gonna smell like booty. I thought that's what my whole thought process is like, man, the sumo arena probably is foul. It didn't smell like nothing.
Maybe that's why they throw they do the rituals and stuff to
get rid of the booty smell. Dog, I just knew I was like, man, it's probably gonna be like sweet and sour booty in this mug, and it was not. And I was like, yo, even my wife was like, does it stink in there? Because they came later. And I was like, nah, man, it don't smell like nothing. Like, y'all know that's probably like, what is he talking about?
No, that's so good.
That blew my mind, honestly.
That's really special. And for people that don't know how sumo works, it is like an all day thing because, you know, they're pretty short matches, but they roll through them and you get to see kind of like the increasing level of superstars. And when the like, you know, the stars come at each other.
Dogs,
you can like feel it. It's like the sound is different. There's just it's like, wow, we really teared up here.
The Makuchi, when they come out, like the top division, the top division and the second division, when they come out, it's like, wow, these are the representation of Japan. Like, it's crazy. That junk is killing, man. It's so killing.
I agree. It's so awesome. I want to talk about like Silver Kid and your
Yeah.
experience kind of playing in Japanese oriented band, like for the
Hmm.
Japanese market, and kind of like how did that happen? I know that you did a tour with the Billboard venues too. I'm just
Yeah.
curious to learn more about that.
Man, I mean, as far as Silver Kid is
Yeah,
concerned, a buddy of mine, Fuyu, he's a well-renowned drummer out here in Japan.
cool.
He actually funny. Fuyu grew up in New York, so he's like super New York. Like he'll rock some Timbs, but
Yeah,
but he's you know what I'm saying. Like it's
yeah, totally.
hilarious.
That's
It's
funny.
so hilarious. But
Yeah.
he reached out to me back in what was it 2020 or 2021? It definitely was during the pandemic. I was here, and we went out to eat. We went to this shabu shabu restaurant.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Man, you ever been in a rock band?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I played with a few people like Suicidal Tendencies and so on and so forth, but not like a band that
Yeah.
I'm a part of like that."
Right.
He was like, "Man, I've always wanted to start a band, blah blah blah." So fast forward, I got sent home because of the pandemic. They sent all the foreigners home, and he was just emailing me like different songs, and we started recording stuff, and that's kind of how that happened. I hadn't
Cool.
even met Ash, the guitar player, or Nick, the lead singer. I hadn't even met them in
Wow.
person. We
Yeah.
already had like records done, like
Yeah.
music.
That's awesome.
And finally, when I was able to get back out here, man, it was cool. Like we just a couple of dudes that's just trying to have fun, like
Hmm.
willing to sacrifice. It's any anybody that's starting like a band, like you, it's not easy,
Hmm.
like you're starting from nothing, even
Yeah.
if you have a huge fan base individually and stuff, you have to
Right.
get your fan base used to like, what is this? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So,
Yes.
but it's been fun, man. And I like working with a lot of the different artists here. The this already, the industry here is night and day from anywhere. The
Please dig into it though. I'm sure listeners are super curious.
Well, one thing I learned is first off, the fans here in Japan, they really appreciate music, like
Mm.
all music,
Hmm.
and they appreciate their own.
Mm.
Unfortunately, where we come from, in many situations, you have to work really hard to get people in your backyard to support,
Yeah. Totally.
because America is just different. We're spoiled.
Hmm.
We have
Yeah.
everything, and well, we think we have everything at
Uh-huh.
least. But
Uh-huh.
it for me, if I'm being honest, what I've noticed throughout my career, as a professional, it creates an entitlement for
Mm.
people that grow up in America versus here. If you say that you're gonna start singing here in Japan, they immediately support, like, because they look at it like, wow, you were courageous enough to want to do this. So
Cool.
they
Yes.
support you right off top. But
Yes.
back home, you start something and people kind of laugh and be like, oh, he ain't gonna. But then if
Yeah.
you get a Grammy or something, then
Uh-huh.
people,
The whole
then everybody's at your
right.
front door like, yeah, I knew you was gonna. No, you
Yeah, from the
didn't. Get the
jump.
mess
Yeah.
out of here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna be something. No, you didn't. Get out of here. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
So uh first and foremost, that's one of the things that
Mm.
sticks out like a sore thumb here. And because of that, a lot of their artists, some maybe aspire to venture outside of Japan, but for many of them, they don't even care because they don't have to.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
love it that they can just tour around Japan.
Totally. I mean, there's a big enough audience. You got
It
127
is.
million people. A lot of them
Exactly.
still buy CDs. Like
Yep,
you can make your
exactly.
money in Japan.
You can
Yeah.
make money, and they support, man. Like they
Yeah.
come to shows, they buy merchandise, they believe.
Cool. Yeah. That's
So
special.
it inspires a lot of those musicians and the artists here to stay here, because they're like, man, shoot, well, if y'all support me like this, why do I need to go to, London? Why do I need to go to blah 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 and all that kind of stuff?
Hmm.
Where versus at home, even the massive artists, the big A-list artists, they love to tour outside of America because they make more money. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. No, I get it.
It's really weird, man. It's really strange how that happens, but you know, the artists here are really cool. You have some that are very, very, very innovative and you know, constantly trying to come up with new ways to do stuff, which I respect wholeheartedly. And then you have the ones that just, you know, like any other place, you got the mimickers, the plagiarizers, I call them. But that's anywhere. You know, you'll have people that are willing to take the risk to be original, and then you got the ones that are like, no, I'm gonna just copycat. So shout out to all the originators. I gotta shout out all the originators.
It's a risky move. Originating.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's risky. It's risky, but you'll have no regrets.
I love that.
You'll have no regrets because you know, nobody will ever be able to say you jack something, you know? So yeah, shout out to all the original risk takers everywhere in the world.
Yes.
Be a risk taker. Yeah.
Yes. I want to talk about the dojo.
Oh,
kinda, yeah. Can you talk about, I think I saw when you launched that. Can you talk about kind of what the goal is and how you're building community?
Bubby's Dojo, man, honestly, it's just a way for me to show people that assume that I have this crazy regiment of how I practice, you know, to play whatever they feel I play. It's not nothing crazy. It's literally just basic stuff.
Yeah.
My mindset is more so I don't care than anything. That I just, if I can just become one with my instruments, so to speak, and just express myself freely, then I'm satisfied. And so that's basically what the dojo is I'm just trying to get people to see, no, I don't sit and practice 19 hours a day. I've done that before.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I've done that when I was summer break, you know, and I smelled like bologna sitting in my room all day. Yeah, I've done that junk. Not no more though. I got a wife, I got a daughter, I got another kid on the way. A
Congratulations.
Daughter on the way.
Yes.
Thank you, man. I ain't got time to be no, I may play my bass for 25, 30 hour, maybe 2 hours. If I get, you know, some days I may do 4, it just depends. Other days it may be 10 minutes, you know, but that's what the dojo is just, I'm just trying to, I guess, help people find what challenges them the most. And then that's what you work on, you know?
Yeah.
For some people, it might be, you know, efficiency when it comes to their groove or their stamina or, you know, whatever. And others, it might be writing. Others, it might be improvising or whatever. So let's figure it out. What stumps you and let's work on that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not nothing complicated. It's literally no such thing as advanced levels and stuff. It's just anybody, everything, you know, like what do you have a question about? All right, let's figure it out, you know.
Love it.
Simple.
Love it. And then you also you play on a bunch of records, including independent artists, including my own music. You know, we have a song "Tired of the Sunshine" that you played on. I absolutely love your bass line. It's awesome.
I love the mess.
So
I told you that when you sent me that song, and I told my wife, I said, man, listen to this Joker's music.
No way.
That junk was so killing, man.
Thanks, man.
Everything about it, dog.
Thank you.
Listen in the studio. What's the capital of Olivia? Like all that junk is blazing. I was like, what is this?
Thanks,
Killing, man.
I love what you put on it. I love your phrasing. It's so fun giving a song to another musician that you trust and then having them do stuff that surprises you. It's out of what you would have done. And you're like, that's it. That's exactly, it's what the song wanted. And I couldn't have brought it to it. And what like, is that just part of your feeling of like being a part of music is just you want to be on a bunch of stuff and like you help people out that have lower budget, bigger budget, is that just part of your personal ethos, your philosophy kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, because I know what it feels like, you know, I know what it feels like to, and you know what, dude, my first record, I reached out to Frank and Bali and he had heard of me. He was like, I've heard of you, and you know, blah blah blah. And that shocked me because
Yeah.
it's like, man, this is doggone Frank and Bali, but Frank and Bali gave me a deal.
Cool.
It's Frank and Bali, so it's like,
Yeah.
dude, if Frank and Bali can give people a deal, he gave me a. Who am I? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just some random dude from Michigan, like, but he gave me a hookup. So yeah, I like to do that as often as I can. I actually was gonna do it. I said I wasn't gonna do it no more this year, but I was actually thinking about doing it this upcoming week. Just, you know, if people want me to play on something, because I know what it feels like to you want to get something of great quality, but you may not have the budget, but your music might be of that quality. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, hey man, everybody can use a helping hand sometimes, and people have helped me, so it doesn't bother me. You know, the labels, they got the label budget, so they can send me, you know, $5,000 or whatever
Right.
for a song.
Yeah.
You know, they can do that. But you know, if somebody got a couple $100, or man, whatever, let's do it. You know, I like that. And then too, I come across a lot of dope musicians and producers and writers and stuff that way too.
Yeah.
You know, you remember those people, you know, so it's a win-win, honestly.
Yeah. And that's really special. And like, I don't know, there's something to the people that don't cut the ladder out from under them once they've climbed up. That I think we need more of that. And I like you spreading that message and living it, because it's so easy. And I like, you know, the same thing you were talking about, America and kind of the culture and stuff. I think that's part of it, where I have a lot of friends that got pretty big and then they stopped hiring their friends to play music on their stuff. Even though their friends are really good, you know, but it's like you get to a certain tier and you just kind of like change the Rolodex. And that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of sad, because then you don't grow with the people that you grew with. Yeah.
It is sad, man, especially if the people you know can get the job done, but you're not calling them because of their name. They don't have the platform. Like that's ridiculous to me. You know, it shouldn't be about, it should be about the work that they can give you, you know, what they can, the ability and stuff like that, what they can do. So, you know, again, man, I don't want to just pin it all on America, but
No.
It's such an American thing to me. It's such a like an entitled thing to me. You know, like some of these producers I know out here in Japan, nobody knows who they are, but they're like, all of my heroes are composing these video games.
Yes.
Every last one of, but if these dudes walked around Namsho, like nobody would look their way.
Yeah.
Like Hidenori Iwazaki, if this dude freaking Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy Tactics and some of the greatest Square Enix games, if this dude walked around a Namsho, nobody's gonna look his way.
Yeah.
But I guarantee most people have played the games this guy is good. I mean, it's
have
just
those melodies. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, that stuff is dope. It's not just always about, oh, this person has 15 Grammys. Like, okay, that's cool, but you know, don't forget that it's about like what people bring to the table. It's not about their accolades and their achievements. It's, can they play the part? Can they add this life to this music that you're looking for? You know what I'm saying? Who cares if they only got 50 followers? So you know, like, I know people that got millions of followers and they're terrible people. You know what I'm saying? Whoop-de-doo. I know people that got, you know, $50 million mansions and they're horrible people. They're horrible human beings. So that shouldn't determine the worth, what you have and what you've achieved. You know, you got 50 Grammys. Okay. All right. What's next? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just old fogey. I don't know. I just, some things just don't matter to me. And I just don't believe in turning people away because they're not famous or they don't know this person or they haven't done this. And then, man, you never know who you come across in this world that's incredible at something. And they're just, you know, Nobu Uematsu, you know, he's another one. Basically the pioneer of Square Enix composers. He's like the guy. He's another one. If he walked around damn show, nobody's gonna look his way. They probably gonna think he's an Ibanez base employee or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and meanwhile, there would be no Final Fantasy without this guy. You know?
Yeah,
crazy.
It is. I watched I feel bad for not remembering their name, but it was about the composer for the jingles outside of Japanese train stations. That was one of the things that surprised me. I didn't know about that until I got there, and every single station's got its own jingle that like represents the place. It's amazing.
Tameki Sano is my favorite. Tameki Sano is my favorite, and I love Asakusa Station. There's a few all over Japan.
Bangers,
like,
right?
Man, what is that? But Tameki Sano, oh my goodness, that mug. But even that, like that dude is a G. He's a G.
For sure. No, I mean Harajuku is like, yep, that's Harajuku. Like that's what it sounds
fire,
like.
Man.
Yeah.
That's so fire. And it's so anime. it's so anime. It's so dope. Oh, that joint is tight.
I love it. So I've got one final question for you, and this is kind of how we wrap up each show. So the show is called Love Music More, and so we call this segment Love Music Why. And so I just want to put you on the spot, and I want you to talk to, you know, like a 10-year-old who's thinking about picking up their instrument for the first time, and tell them, you know, why do you love music? Why do you sacrifice for it? Why is it this special thing that's worth, you know, giving so much of your soul and your energy to? And just like I'd love to just hear in a short statement about just your passion for this thing.
You know what, man? Music, my father used to say something. My father used to say, I come from a big family, a fat family at that. My dad used to say food is one of the joys of life, and it is, but music is the one thing in a lot of ways like food that can change an entire mood of somebody. You could be having the worst day, but you hear the right song. You could be having the best day and you hear the wrong song. Music is something that to me is very supernatural, and it is a spiritual thing. And if anybody is courageous enough to say they want to play an instrument or just, you know, just sing, basically put themselves in the forefront where they'll be exposed, you know, and, you know, they're forced to have to excel in this thing just a little bit, just get better. Like, I encourage anybody to take that leap, because when you get to where you can write a song or you can play something that does something special for somebody, who cares if it's just a few people or if it's an entire arena? That doesn't matter. That's great. You know, the more people that you can inspire, great. But if you can do something, write a song, sing a note, or play an instrument, and it makes somebody that's listening feel something, to me, what I've found since I've been doing this, there's no greater feeling than that. And this is the reason why my ambition for being a musician has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with fame or how many people I can get to follow me or to be my fan. Like, and granted, all of that stuff is cool. You know, it feels good to have support. Yeah. And it, of course, doggone it feels good to make some money if you dedicate your life to this thing. But if you can truly understand what it means to play a note or play a song, sing a song, or whatever it might be, write a song, produce a beat, whatever, and it does something special for somebody, if you can really understand what that means, you basically, I'll put it to you like this. Let's say you make a song, right? You make a song and this song becomes something really special for people, whether it be a, you know, a nice big audience that hears it or a whole bunch of people, right? You made something out of nothing. You made something out of nothing. It was an idea and you put in enough work to turn it into this real thing that you can hear outside. No, it's no longer just in your mind. It's out now and you can hear it. You can press play. You can hear it over and over. And now you give it to people. And the greatest thing is when you have a feeling within yourself when you're writing a song and it makes you feel a certain way. You put the song out and then you hear from random people that you never met what the song makes them feel. And you come across people that are expressing this same feeling you had when the song hit you. There's no greater feeling than that. For me, there's no greater feeling. And what I would tell anybody is just be brave enough to try and, I guess, be brave enough to see what you can come up with. You know, see what you can create. Don't concern yourself with, you know, is it going to be good enough or will people like it? Do they not? Whatever it might be. Don't worry about any of that. You want to feel something and it has to start with you. And if you can put that into the song, if you can put that into your groove or your chords or whatever, it's very possible. You can play a bass line correctly, but it not have any feeling. You could play chords the right way, but it not have any feeling. But if you can figure out how to feel what you do, anybody that's listening to you, they're going to feel whatever it is you feel. This is the reason why the greats like Prince and Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles and Bob Dylan. I mean, I can go down the list. Jackson Brown, I can go down the list of all these legends. Willie Nelson, they all made great music. We know that, but we were able to feel their music. You know what I'm saying? Musician or not. We were able to feel their music. You could be tone deaf as all get out, but it was something about the music you could feel. But the reason why is, I guarantee, is they felt it first. And so for me, that's the thing I encourage anybody that loves music or any form of art. If you can just make people feel something, that should be the goal, but you got to feel it first. So always go after what you feel first. Always go after what makes you feel good first. You know, I'm sure George Lucas was feeling good, you know, doing Star Wars. We know the story, you know, there was some rough moments and there was a lot of doubt that maybe people had in him, but he had an idea and he stuck to it. And look at Star Wars today. You know what I mean? So One Piece, this is an anime about pirates. You know, J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter. I mean, there's all this stuff that's so big now. It all started with just a feeling and an idea, but they believed enough in it to do it and to, you know, the courage to finish it and make it this real thing right in front of their eyes. So, yeah, I mean, I know that was a massive answer, but
I loved it.
for me, that's just the stuff that I think about all the time. Whenever I write a song, whenever I just get up to play a song, play a groove with my own music or Silver Kid or Snoop or whoever, I want this junk to be an experience and I want to feel this mug myself. And if I feel it, I know the people listening to feel it. That's what I believe.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love the bravery aspect because it is a brave choice, like you're saying, to do something that you really believe in, because you're really putting yourself
Absolutely.
out there. You're like, this
You
is
are.
me. This is what I
it.
like.
This is who I
Yeah,
am. This is
right.
who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really
Yep.
special. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Bubby. I always feel super inspired after
Problem.
talking to you. So it's gonna be a great day making music. You gave me a good pep talk. I'm like ready now, man.
I wish, man. I'm over here.
Yeah.
I woke myself up a little bit talking to you.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm
Oh
sorry about
no,
that.
this was good, man. This is good. I woke myself up a little bit. I know as soon as I drink a little bit more of this Tito, I'm gonna be laid out on my side.
Yeah, good.
But no,
As
dude,
you should be.
this was great, man. And I think this is wonderful that you got this show, man. And dude, you're a great producer.
Thank you.
You're a great musician. And I know I told you this when you sent me that song. I know I wrote you a bunch of times and was talking about how dope that junk was, but man, you really dope at what you do. You really are.
I really
And
appreciate that.
you're a good cat, and there will always be a bright future. And I pray the Lord's mercy and blessings on you and safety, you and your family and everything, man. I do. I mean that.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Bubby, and I feel it. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, man.
So thank you so much for being such a great friend and educator and musician. I'm really excited to see all the stuff you have to come. I'll always be a fan, and
Appreciate it, man.
if anybody wants to check you
Likewise.
out, Instagram or something like that would be the best. What would be the best place for people to point to?
Yeah, Instagram, Bubby Lewis. I try and respond to everybody too. I'm not one of them type of guys that's, leave me alone. Like, nah, what's up? I'm a country boy, man.
Love it. Stay true.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yep.
Well, have a great night, Bubby. Really appreciate you hopping on the podcast.
It ain't no thing, man. You be blessed, and
You too.
yeah, we'll talk Japan soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, man. I'll come out. We'll
Come on, man.
we'll have a little
Get
feast.
some food, man. We can get some food and walk the streets at 2 in the morning. Go to
sir.
7-Eleven.
That sounds like a plan, dude.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.